Hello, it's Jennifer. Today is Friday, June 22nd. Happy summer to everybody. Today I figured I'd do a garden tour video. I'd start here with my tomato harvest so far, which is enormous. So these are the bush steak, the Polish linguiça. These are a mixture of black creme and purple Cherokee. These are lemon boys. These are a mixture of the Roma type of Juliet and San Marzano. These are Anna's Russian. These are Less Sweet Japanese. These are striped Romans. And this is ensalada. I believe that is a Syrian giant. That's a pineapple. This one here is a green zebra, green vernissage. And these here are white tomasil. This was a white tomasil that fell off the plant. And then over here are just some squashes. So this is the Odessa squash and then another kind of zucchini. And just to get a closer look, this is a Syrian giant, and this is the ensalada. So the Syrian giant is one that I bought from the local nursery. The plant itself is not all that healthy, but I did want to grow at least one tomato and get it to ripeness in order to save the seeds and try to grow my own plant, which I hope will be hardier. So that's what I have going on here inside. Oh, here's the sun gold, and then these little guys are the dark plum. Okay, so that's what I have harvested inside, and I am saucing. And in here, I'm making some black creme sauce right now. So they're boiling away, boil off some of this water, and then I will go ahead and freeze this tomato paste, and I'll make sauce later. So going out to the front side yard, I see that I have a gopher problem. My husband and I will address this soon. Looks like this is as far as he's come, unless he's going to come up underneath these bags of mulch somewhere. Anyhow, so over here I have some tomatoes that I threw out in the yard because they weren't doing well in the backyard. These are the sugary tomatoes and the sun gold tomatoes, and I believe there's also the carbon tomato in here as well. So these are actually doing really well out front. I've gotten a few of the sugary tomatoes and the sun gold tomatoes and tasted them. They taste very much like Starburst candies. So at first they're sweet, and then they have a sour component to them. So I can imagine a lot of people liking that. It's a very strong flavor, like I said, like Starburst candies. I'm not a fan of that. But I can see how some people would be. So if you like, Starburst candies or sweet tart candies, I recommend the sun gold and the sugary tomato to you. And then over here are some of the Wagner blue green. And this one had a problem where the drip irrigation line fell off, so it hadn't been watered for a while, and I don't know how long that's been since I don't come out here often and check. So this plant's in pretty bad shape. And then over here is, I believe, an Italian ice, and then the Costroli, which is doing much better up front. It had miniaturized in the backyard, but it looks like now it's trying to grow properly. And the same for, which tomato is this? The purple Caboche. So that's this one over here, and they're doing much better up front. So we'll see how this goes. I've decided to just let the tomatoes up here wander. They have space to wander, so if they want to go out of these buckets and grow horizontally, I'll allow that. I bought some wire baskets. The kind that you can just create any sort of shape you want from the basket, so I can support these as they grow. Also up front are the marshmallow plants, and these are now blooming. They're very pretty. They smell nice and softly scented like marshmallows. I'm not sure exactly how you get marshmallow candy out of these plants, but these ones self-seeded from last year, and they are looking absolutely gorgeous, so I'm happy with these. And the Mexican oregano is also blooming up front, and I've been using this in the spaghetti sauces and salsa, and it's very good, and hopefully it'll self-seed some more. I'm not sure what variety of oregano this is, but it's another variety, as you can see the color difference. Anyhow, this is a very beautiful plant. The hummingbirds love it, the bees love it, and it's hardy, self-seeded from last year, so this is a great plant. So the first stop in the backyard is the greenhouse, and here I'm growing some icebox watermelon, and these should be small variety watermelon that are either pink or yellow. I don't know which one is pink, and I don't know which one is yellow, but I'll find out once they grow. So I put like 8 seeds in here, and I have been removing seedlings as I see which one is growing best. I'm probably gonna have 4 vines coming out of here since this is such a big tub, and I'll see how that goes. But so far they seem to be liking the greenhouse like a lot. Next to the greenhouse are my in-ground tomatoes. So this one is the San Marzano, and I've already started collecting tomatoes off of this plant. It's doing pretty well. It's got lots of vines, but it looks like that's the tallest vine. So far, it's just been fighting the heat. So, you know, I've been doing the best that I can to keep it watered and whatnot, but it does get hot in the days here, and there's not much I can do about that. So, this is a San Marzano in ground. Over here is the Anahu, and it's starting to ripen, so this is a determinate tomato. So once these are ripe, I'll pull this out of the ground and put it in a new plant. Next to it is some kind of Roma tomato. This is probably supposed to be a Juliet, but it looks like that these, again, I've been getting all kinds of variations of Juliet. So this one looks like it's a low to the ground Roma tomato. And then over here are some new tomatoes I put in the ground about 2 weeks ago. This one here is a Cherokee. This one here is a Granny Smith. And this one here is a Carbon tomato. So this is the second round of tomatoes. I expect these to be fruiting probably in August and September. So that's these. And then over here is a blueberries tomato, and it's growing quite quickly, and it's got some little cherry tomatoes on it. They are small, about the size of blueberries. I have no idea how these taste. So I'm waiting for the bottoms to turn red, and that's how I know that they're ripe. Over here are some bell peppers, which are coming along nicely. These are the yellow monster, and then the Sprite tomato. So I had one ripe tomato, but the critters got it before I did. So now I'm just waiting for these tomatoes to ripen. I should probably put a bag over them such that the critters don't eat them. And then over here, some more bell peppers. These are the purple bell peppers. And then I believe these other ones are regular bell peppers. And then down here are the Cubanelle peppers. So another look at that black bell pepper. And then the tomato in the middle is Reka. And Reka has some tomatoes up here, and it's still blooming. Over here is butternut squash. So I've got one big guy. I think I saw a smaller one yesterday on this plant. Let's see. Where you at, little guy? There you go, little nubbin. So, and then back here is the ensalada, an Alma paprika pepper, and bison tomato. So there's one almost right here. And oh, Mr. Locust, go away. Over here, he's having a snack, eating eggplant leaves. And over here is the Patio Baby eggplant. This is the new brand of Atlas tomato. I think it was introduced either this year or last year from Burpee. So far, it's got a lot of tomatoes. They're a good size. A lot of flowers on it. It's the second plant over here with some Creole onions at the bottom. And I believe there's a pepper plant somewhere down in there. And the Brazilian starfish. The other one actually has little fruits on it, so I'll show that one. And then some more peppers over here. And over here are my little flying saucer squashes. They're not doing so great this year. I'm not sure what's wrong. I try to keep up with the watering, but the soil is always dry. So I think that these bags might be too small for this plant. And maybe I need to put these in the future in tubs like I have the other plants. But I have been getting enough squash and zucchini to feed myself and my husband. Actually more than enough. So that's pretty good. There's a zucchini right there. And then you can see the little squashes in there. And over here is a German queen tomato. And this is a chocolate stripe. Over here is the Wagner Blue Green. We have put in another canopy. So we need to secure that down. But for now it's heavy enough to just to resist the wind. This is one of the bush stakes. It's almost done with its life here. So it's got all the tomatoes on it. They're ripening. And I'll go ahead and replace this with another tomato when it's done. And then this is the Dark Galaxy. And waiting for these to turn red to know that they are ripe and ready to eat. Behind here are some lemon cucumbers. The Armenian cucumber back here, along with some straggling snow peas. And then a pickling cucumber, which so far has not produced anything edible. They're all kind of mutant looking. Okay, this is the Brazilian starfish. Okay, let's try this again. This is the Brazilian starfish plant. This is my second one. And this one has fruits on it. So right here, and here, and all over the plant. So this one is now getting some shade in the afternoon, which pepper plants actually kind of like the shade here because it's so hot. Over here is a black cherry tomato plant that's grown from my own seed saved from last year. It's kind of straggly, but in general they grow this way. They have lots of vines, and the vines are really skinny. Although I don't know about the health of this plant. This one doesn't look so good. And it doesn't help that we banged it around putting up the canopy here. And then below here is a Tasmanian chocolate tomato plant. It's a small stature plant meant for container gardening. Still waiting for these Black Beauty tomatoes to ripen up, so the bottoms are still green. This one got attacked by worms. These are the striped Roman, and they're doing pretty good. I've harvested about half of the tomatoes that were on here. The Italian Ice here, which is a very good cherry tomato variety. It's very sweet and fruity tasting. This is another enchilada plant, which I've harvested most of these off of, so just waiting for the rest of them to ripen. This is a terminate plant, so there's no more blossoms on it, and once these fruits here are ripened, I'll go ahead and remove it and replace the plant. This is the Cordobu plant, so I have two of these. I've already removed two of the tomatoes, and they're ripe. This is another Cordobu, and these are almost ripe as well. From the ones that I've already harvested, they are running 12 to 14 ounces. So here's another one down here. Okay, this is the Dr. Lyle's tomato, and I've already harvested one ripe tomato off of it. This is the second tomato on it. Once this tomato ripens, I'll go ahead and pull this plant. And then this is another Juliet that doesn't look anything like a Juliet. It looks like a Roma. I've harvested some tomatoes off of this. I cut them open, eaten them, and they just taste just like a Roma. Doesn't look like there's any more blossoms on this, so I will go ahead and remove this once these tomatoes are ripe. So far the animals like this tomato here, as well as the Cordoba and the purple stripe. They also like the enchilada, but only after the rest of the plants have been covered. This is a green zebra. So far I don't like this tomato very much, but I'll let the tomatoes on here ripen further than I have before to see if I can get any sweetness or better taste out of them. This is a little pepper. I'm not sure what that is. This is another Granny Smith tomato, another green zebra, and this is my black creme, and I've harvested a lot of these off here. So these are the stragglers and the white Tomasol. So this plant was planted at the same time as the other white Tomasol, but for whatever reason it's lagging behind, so it's just now got its fruits all over it. And the new fruits don't seem to be sticking, so perhaps this plant is done as well. Maybe it's too hot, I'm not sure. It hasn't really gotten over 90, and it's not over 75 at night, so I'm not sure why the plant's kind of kaput. Maybe because it's got enough tomatoes on it already. These little guys down here are my dwarf tomatoes. So there's Little Bites, Tiny Tim, and Red Robin down here. And then back here are the Patty Stripe tomatoes. So it's a nice big guy here. And the dark plum tomatoes, lots of them here. I've been picking some of these and eating them, and they indeed do taste like ketchup. And then over here is the other black creme. Lots of tomatoes that are close to being ripe. I picked lots of tomatoes off this plant, as you saw from me over there saucing them, and some still in the house. And then over here is a new plant, the Super Bush. This is the Carmelo. I'm not sure what's going on here with it, but it's not happy. Looks like there's some powdery mildew, but I think that this just might be a sign of overwatering here, because it is in one of these plastic buckets. And then we've also been dealing with the sprinkler system here. So we had just a pop-up sprinkler here. I put a manifold on it for drip irrigation, but I haven't installed the drip lines yet, so I've been hand watering this, but it might be full at the bottom of water, even though there's supposed to be a drainage hole in it that came with the bucket. But this looks like some overwatering, so I'll give it a rest for a while and see if it gets better. But in the meantime, I'll pull off these yellow leaves. Okay, over here are my yellow onions. We had 6 of them. We've eaten 2. They're very good. They're very sweet. They've been bulbing up nicely. So as we need them, we've been pulling them out of the ground and eating them. There was a pepper in here, and it died. This is our Mexican lime tree. So it's put out new leaves, and now it's flowering again. It looks like there's a fruit over here. Yep, down there. This is our mandarin orange tree, and it's trying really hard. We put out some new leaves, a banana plant. And I believe this is another German queen tomato. So it's now flowering. It's doing pretty well. Looks good. And this is our pink lemonade tree. And I've been now watering this every day, and I've seen great improvements in this plant. So it's got now leaves all over it. It's trying to have some fruit. We'll see. And then this is a blueberry plant, and it's putting on some new leaves, and it's just finishing off developing the blueberries that bloomed a month or two ago. So we've been steadily eating these little guys. And this is the patio princess tomato, sorry, and the patio baby eggplant. These eggplants are very good. They're mild. They're a nice size too for stir fry. So typically I let them get a little bigger, about 3 inches long. Here's what they look like. So like little jewels. This plant is very prolific. And it's one of my favorites this year. I love this plant. I love the look of it. I love the taste of the fruits. And I like how small and compact it is. And the patio princess, these tomatoes taste like really good grocery store tomatoes. So if you just want a small stature tomato plant that you can grow in a container and you get a lot of them, and they taste pretty good, then I recommend the patio princess to you. It's a good little slicer tomato. This is a purple rain here, starting to flower. I removed the Japanese white eggplant from here. The eggplants turned out to be bitter, so I taste tested them raw, and then I taste tested them cooked, and they were just not good, not to my liking. So the other ones left in here are the Casper, which has taken off the last few days, I guess because of the heat, and these green apple eggplants here. And then coming over here, under the tent, are some more dwarf tomatoes and some soybeans. So the soybeans are over here, the dwarf tomatoes under here. These are the, what are these called? Oh goodness. Oh shoot, ant swarm. Ooh, really bad ant swarm. Let me do something about this. Okay, so back to this. I just sprayed the ants with some neem oil and dish soap, and that should stop them for now, which explains why I was having such a problem for the past 2 weeks with ants and aphids all over this pepper plant, which, by the way, I don't know what kind of pepper this is. It was a volunteer. But looking at this little guy there, it looks like it's a paprika, an Alma paprika. So Alma paprikas are really good when you let them ripen. They're sweet. They taste very fruity. So I'm happy about that. And then here are the soybean plants here. These are DeSoy, and I think maybe Midori Giant. I'm not sure. I called it Midori Giant or not. Doesn't matter. I'll just wait for these to come up. I've also got some mint that's trying to invade this bed, so I'll go ahead and pull the mint out. And these are mini bell tomatoes in here. So they're doing quite well. As you can see over there, those are ripening. And I'll do a taste test soon when they are ripe enough. So over here is an Omar's Lebanese tomato. This is another tomato that I bought at a nursery. And I'm hoping just to let these tomatoes ripen so I can save the seeds, since this is an heirloom, and just try growing my own plant, hopefully to get a healthier plant. This is the mandarin orange, tomato plant. I need to put a cage around it. This is the papaya dew, so my favorite melon so far. And it looks like I've got a little guy there and a little guy there, so that's better than last year where I only got one little guy. And this is the pineapple tomato, and we've got a couple guys ripening here and some more big guys on the plant. I like this tomato very much. It tastes very fruity. It's sweet and it's not too tart, and it is somewhat reminiscent of a pineapple, so it does taste like a mix between a pineapple and a tomato. Very good. And then over here are the Lesson Sweet Japanese. So they're grown quite big this year, and the fruits are quite sweet and juicy. Great for sauce making, and also great for just eating. And then over here are the Amish paste. So they're doing well. Anna's rushing behind. And more Amish paste. So Anna rushing over here, Amish paste. And then down there, the bush steaks, more Amish paste over there. This is the Syrian giant plant, so there are a few more tomatoes on here and on this little guy to harvest. Down there is some spinach. And it looks like there's a little volunteer tomato down there. And the Anna's Russian and the Amish paste don't seem to like the weather here, so they dried up and turned yellow very quickly. They also were susceptible to powdery mildew, so this one seems to do better, I guess, early in the spring season here in zone 10. So when these are done ripening, I intend to replace them with other plants to see if they do better in the heat. But these paste tomatoes, they might be better off spraying or like winter here. Okay, this one is, let's see, let's get the tag. The Tasty Evergreen. Who are you? Okay, this guy is some sort of volunteer and I don't know who he is. But hello? Oh, put you up in the cage here. You've got a little tomato on you, so we'll find out what kind of boy you are. Alright, this is the Odessa squash, so I picked some of these this morning. This has been giving me probably maybe 3 or 4 squash a week. I like it very much. These squash are mild and buttery. They're very good tasting. This is the Golden Momotaro. And then back here, the Dr. Lyle's. So far, it's been kind of stringy. All the Dr. Lyle's have been stringy like this. But they give forth some big tomatoes, which I haven't tasted yet. And then this one is, excuse me, the Chef's Choice Pink. I didn't expect the Chef's Choice Pink to actually produce a tomato since it's so small and stringy. But good job, little guy. And I will eat your tomato if the critters don't get it first. I'll probably try to plant this one again, especially if the tomato tastes good. But I'm surprised it's got one. It looks good. This one here is the Old Fashioned Red. So I've got a big one here that I've put in a bag for later. Also to keep the critters off of it. It's doing pretty well. And then another Golden Momotaro. So it looks like there's a fruit here. These are supposed to be orange. This is the Sprite tomato. I wasn't sure whether this was actually going to give forth any tomato since it was so small and scrawny, but here we go. I tasted these. They're sweet and tart, but they're not like so shocking as like the Starburst candy ones up in the front yard. So it's pretty good. I might plant this one again, especially since it's such a small stature and gives off these pretty looking little fruits. And then back here is a Black Beauty eggplant, and you can see the first one here. And then lemon ahi, and then 2 the ringleader jalapenos, and then these are the lunchbox peppers, which aren't doing so well so far. And then this I believe is lemon balm down here. And then over here are the round Juliet. So this is from my own seed. Again, Juliet's very unstable, so we see what we'll get here from this plant. So far, looks like it's fruiting. so far it looks like these might actually be Juliet. We'll see how big they get. And then back here is the tangerine tomato, and then back there is the yellow gooseberry. And my corn's gone to tassel. So maybe we'll have some corn. I don't think we're gonna have corn by the 4th of July though, but we'll have some corn probably by mid-July. And yeah, this is the Biolicious corn, and it gets about 5 or 6 feet tall. So the corn in the middle is at full height. I might have to go through and hand pollinate some of these like I did last year. Last year I got a good harvest. I got 17 ears off of this little 3-foot diameter planter. Okay, over here is the Juliet, the other Juliet. So like I said, Juliet's unstable. This one is tall. It has these big oval fruits on it. The taste so far isn't impressive, but I'm going to let these stay on the plant longer and see if letting them ripen longer will bring some sweetness to these tomatoes. Over here is an onion bed. These just started bulbing. And then back here is my tomatillo plant. And I've been picking some of these and using them in salsa. And so far it tastes pretty good. They are sweet, and I don't know how to describe it other than they have a vegetable-y taste. So not like a tomato, but sort of sweet and citrusy and then kind of vegetable-y. And then over here, there is I think this is the dark opal basil. There's some sort of little tomato plant that's trying. Wow. Okay, this is a bean plant and it is covered in aphids. Oh boy, let me go do something about this. I swear ants are all we can't have anything good. Anyhow, continuing on. This is another San Marzano plant, and I've been getting tomatoes off of this and making sauce out of them. Next to it is a Polish linguiça, and I haven't made sauce out of these yet. I'm trying to wait for more of them to ripen so I can have a pure Polish linguiça sauce as a taste comparison. As you can see, it's got some powdery mildew. Over here is the lemon boy, and it's almost done. So it's got some little lemon boys up here. I'll go ahead and let these ripen, and then after that I'll pull the plant. I'm not sure these flowers are going to stick. Again, I don't know what the deal is. Maybe the plant's kaput. Don't know. But I'll let these ripen and then go ahead and pull the plant. And then over here is a mystery cherry plant. And cherry tomato plant. And I don't know what these are, but they're cute. And then this is the Cherokee purple. It's doing well. I've been picking lots of tomatoes off of it. Next to it is a lesser sweet Japanese, which it's got some nice big tomatoes on it. Next to it are 2 Black Prince tomatoes. These I've learned you have to wait until the bottoms are like bright cherry red before picking them, or else they won't be sweet. So these guys, even though they're brown, they have a few more days to go before they're ripe. And then here's a little fox up here, and the little ripening tomatoes in there. Oops. There you go, you can see they're doing well. This is another Black Beauty, but it's not doing as well as the other one. I don't know what that is. That bird crap? Okay, well, anyhow. So these are doing pretty well. And over here is the Sweet 100 cherry tomato. These so far have been, again, sweet at first in the flesh, and then it gets sour in the middle. Not unpleasantly so. So these are not like, the Starburst candies. These are actually pretty good. Next to it is a lesser sweet Japanese, and it's doing pretty well. And then next to it are some San Marzanos, and they've given forth lots of tomatoes, but the plants themselves are now dying. So I'll go ahead and replace these with new San Marzanos that I started a couple weeks ago. But it's been pretty dramatic how they're dying off. But the tomatoes so far are very good. So I'm pleased with that. I'm sorry that the plants are just tuckered out. Alright, this one is the garden peach, and it's got some little tomatoes on it. I didn't expect it to grow like this. Because this looks kind of like a cherry tomato, but we'll see what we get. Lots of little guys on here. And then this is the other black cherry tomato. It's struggling, but it got very tall. So this is an 8-foot support to give you an idea. Looks like there's some very ripe ones down here. Ooh, I'll get this one. Oh, so good. These are good. They're sweet. They actually taste kind of like grapes. I'm very pleased with this plant. I'm grabbing another one. This is another lemon ahi, sorry. It appears to not be getting enough water. I keep trying, but this basket approach here is not very good. This is a Mr. Stripey, but these don't look like Mr. Stripeys, so I'm not sure what's going on here. It had one fruit on here that looked like a Mr. Stripey should look, but the birds and the worms got it first. Over here is another bush steak, and this is an unlabeled potato leaf plant, but it looks very pretty. And then in here are the Anna's Russian mixed up with some of the less than sweet Japanese. So this is a less than sweet Japanese. These pumpkin looking ones are some variation of Anna's Russian. I should probably support this because it's going to tear up the plant. And here's the less than sweet Japanese. This is more representative of the plant. And the less than sweet Japanese. And then this one is a black seaman tomato. So I'd rather call this like man of the sea instead of it coming out of my mouth all wrong. But here we go. This is some sort of volunteer down here. And then over here are more of the onions. Some onions here. This is Momotaro. And then these three little peppers here. Looks like that Topepo Rosso. And I believe back there is a Cajun bell. These aren't doing so well. This is the habanada. It just gets bigger and bigger but doesn't fruit. I'm not sure why it won't fruit, but it isn't. So there was a white tomaso here. I went ahead and pulled it. I pulled off the tomatoes, so a few of them are ripe and a few of them weren't ready yet. But the plant itself had basically just been covered in the powdery mildew and wasn't growing anymore. So I've replaced it with the vintage wine. Over here is another Polish linguiça. I've been having problems with little cabbage loopers on this for some reason. So not the actual, not hookworm, what are they called? Those tomato worms, those big tomato worms, but the little cabbage loopers have been attacking this. This one here is an Amana orange. It's now starting to blossom. I don't know what's going on the bottom here, but it's not happy. And another Dr. Lyle's over here. And so these are ripening. I should probably put some socks around these so the critters don't eat them. And then down here are some beans, and it looks like the ants are trying to harvest aphids again on them. Kind of annoying. And then lastly over here are my mini melons. So got some melons going over here. So this guy here, there's another one over here. There's a trio of melons here. And then over here are my greens. So I've got some pixie cabbage. Back there is some chard. These are some either cauliflower or broccoli, but I don't know if they're actually going to head because it might be too hot for that, so they just might get Jurassic. Back here are some green beans. And right there is a head of romaine lettuce, and there's some spinach over here. And that's all for my June garden tour. We'll see what's growing in July.